Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the EzeeLinux show. This is version 18.23, recorded May the 19th, 2018. In this show, we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but the main thing we're going to focus on is Ubuntu. And one of the first stories that I want to talk about is last weekend, malware was found in the Ubuntu Snap Store. Oh my God, it was horrible. No, actually what it was, somebody uploaded a game to the Snap Store, and in the game was a crypto miner. It mined Bitcoin for this person. In other words, if you would install it, it would use your computer as a miner. And so therefore that is definitely malware, because that is asking somebody else's computer to do something that they might not want it to do without their permission. The Ubuntu folks, the developers at Canonical, the company that distributed Ubuntu, reacted very quickly once this was discovered, and they did not actually remove the game. What they did was they excised the crypto miner portion of the code and sent down an update. Now, how they will deal with the developer, I don't know. I didn't hear that part of the story. But if you want to find out more about this, it is all over the internet, and we're looking at the story from OMG Ubuntu about it, so you can check that out there as well. And I bring this up simply because of the fact that a lot of people out there are going, well, see, I told you, snaps are insecure, they shouldn't have done that. Well, it was kind of inevitable because of the structure of the Snap Store. You see, when you are working with Ubuntu's curated repositories, everything is looked at. So if you type in sudo apt install whatever, that is coming from the repositories. PPAs are the next level up, where the person who is developing the software actually provides their own repository. They are a little less secure, and people always are warned that if you're going to be attaching a PPA, then you need to make sure that you trust the provider, and that it is a well-trusted PPA. And then snaps, which are not Ubuntu specific, but of course it is a Canonical project, so we hear about it. They are kind of like PPAs, except that it's not setting up a repository. You're just basically snapping the application to your operating system without actually installing it. And so anybody could put anything in a snap. So make sure that when you are installing a snap that you know where it comes from. And of course, this is going to cause the folks at Canonical to reevaluate the security in the Snap Store, and I'm sure that we'll hear much more about this. But I wanted to put that out there to kind of tell people exactly what's going on. There's just been a lot of stuff flying around the internet lately about Ubuntu, and this is also the OMG Ubuntu story about the fact that Ubuntu 18.04 wants a little bit of information from you when you install it. This has been blown completely, totally, absolutely out of proportion. And now there are videos popping up on YouTube. There are guides that are showing you how to, quote unquote, remove the spyware from Ubuntu. And the problem with that is that some of the guides that I have seen will actually break your Ubuntu. And what will happen is that you may go down 6 months from now and decide you want to upgrade to a new point release of Ubuntu, and it won't work, and it'll trash your system. There's all kinds of stuff like that out there. And I'm going to make it perfectly clear. I have absolutely, positively no problems whatsoever with the fact that Ubuntu wants some basic information about the systems that you are installing it on. None whatsoever. The folks at Canonical are not untouchable, unreachable people that live in a big gated complex somewhere. Canonical is actually a relatively small company, and there are many people that work for Canonical and help to develop Ubuntu who work very closely with the community and talk to the community all the time. Martin Wimpress, Alan Pope would be one of those people. Alan Pope has been following what we do here at EzeeLinux, and he's very quick to point out when I get something wrong. And That's just fine. I'm glad he's here. And these are people that I've actually talked to. So when you hear the names like Will Cook and these folks, these are not untouchable people. These are people who are talking to the community, explaining what they're doing, and telling you how it works every step of the way. So what I thought I would do in this video is I would actually go into a new Ubuntu, which is right here, and I would show you exactly what it is that Ubuntu is looking for. Now, we actually covered this in a past video, but I'm going to do it again because there's a lot of people out there who are hearing a lot of crap. So when you first install Ubuntu 18.04, and this is what you get. It's this little screen, and it shows you what basically the desktop does. Their Ubuntu GNOME spin of the desktop. And then you click Next. And it's going to ask you whether you want to set up Live Patch. Live Patch is a service that lets you update the kernel and other system-sensitive things that you would ordinarily have to reboot the machine to get the update going. And Live Patch will do that without you having to reboot the machine. It's something that Ubuntu has been shipping on their servers for quite some time, and now they're making it available on desktops. You can choose to set that up if you like. My personal preference is to go ahead and reboot if I get a new kernel, just so I can see what's going on. But that's entirely up to you. And now we get down to the nitty-gritty of the situation, and we have this part right here. And it explains to you that they're going to ask for, they're going to collect a little bit of information, and they're going to send it back to Canonical. And then you have the choice to say yes, you can do that, or no. The default is yes, but you can change it if you want to. So therefore, this right up front makes this not spyware. It's not spyware at all, because spyware would be something that was running surreptitiously in the background that the user was generally unaware of. No, they give you the opportunity to opt out. They give you a legal notice, which explains exactly what they're, the legal ramifications of what they're taking. And then they actually give you the first report. And they open it up in this little text editor right here, little text box, and you can read it if you want to. And if you go down through this and you look carefully, you're going to find out that it just has basic information about your system. And there's your time zone. That way they kind of know what part of the world people are using Ubuntu in. And they do collect some information like your processors and things like that. Now, I'm not going to send this because this is VirtualBox. I don't want to clog up their database with VirtualBox, but I wanted to show this to you. So that is what it's going to be. And then if you would go ahead and choose yes and continue, that report would be sent to Canonical. They are not collecting IP addresses. They're not saving them. It's just the information in that report. If you click no, that you don't want to do this, one message is sent back to Canonical, which says, this user didn't want to send any information, and no information about your system is sent. It's like a one ping thing. It's like, nope, we're not going to do that. This allows them to build a database. It lets them know how many people will participate. The information that they're getting about the hardware and the applications that are installed on your computer helps them to understand how they need to develop the system and make it work for the vast majority of users. So if you do not participate in this, and then you find that Ubuntu is now being geared to laptops with displays that are, 1366 by 768, and you're sitting here going, but I've got all of these monitors and dual monitors, and they don't care about that. Well, that's because you're not telling them. They don't have any other way of knowing. Unlike Microsoft and Apple products, it doesn't have to be registered. And comparing Canonical to Microsoft and the kind of information that they siphon off their users is ridiculous. Now, one person that I heard said that, well, if it starts here, then it could turn into something else. I doubt that very seriously, simply because of the fact that all of this is open source. It's available on GitHub. You can go look and see exactly what it's doing. If the Canonical developers would ever try and slip something in other than what they are telling you they're doing, I am very sure that the open source community would stand up and scream bloody murder, as they should, and that's perfectly all right. But a lot of the tinfoil hat crowd are going around saying things that simply aren't true about this particular project and what they're doing, and that is why I'm saying this. And as far as whether you want to do this or not, that's entirely up to you. If you find it so distasteful that you can't stand it, don't use Ubuntu. Use something else. Don't try and take an Ubuntu installation and go in and try and take this stuff out, because chances are you're going to destabilize the system, or 6 months down the road your upgrade's not going to work, and then you're going to be complaining and trying to figure out what help is because somebody told you, what help you need because somebody told you to do this. Don't do it. That's just that simple. So that's exactly where I stand with this. And I have absolutely no problems whatsoever. I've installed this probably 10 or 15 times, and each time I have sent them to a report to let them know what kind of hardware it's on, except for virtual machines, of course. And before we get off the subject of Ubuntu, I do have to point out that in my last video, the follow-up where I was talking about the Ubuntu GNOME desktop here, I stated that you really could not install plugins for the Ubuntu or GNOME extensions. That's not true. You can. You have to go into GNOME Tweak and you have to enable it, and then you can go get whatever you want. You can get it out of software, or you can install the extension for Chrome. And there you also have to install the little package that makes that work with the desktop. And you can do that, and then you can still use the Ubuntu spin while having some plugins in there. And as this video rolls on, you'll see what plugins I've installed. I'll show you, but we're not quite there yet. So I just wanted to make that correction. I said that in the last video, and I've posted that in a comment on the last video and also other places and said, oh, no, I was wrong. I was doing it wrong. So that's the deal. Let's talk about some good fun news here. Now, we have the EzeeLinux webpage now running on its own happy server, and it is completely under the control of the project, where it's not running on some hosting service somewhere. And this was a major engineering deal that we just completed this week, and I want to say a very special thanks to Jeremy O'Connell at CyberWeb Solutions. And if you are in need of some enterprise grade support for Linux, if you want to move your business over from proprietary operating systems to a open source platform, then Jeremy would be very happy to help you through that process. And we call him Mr. Server around here. And those of you who have been following the channel for a long time know that he's the guy who comes along and tells us how stuff works. The old joke used to be is that there's about 6 people on the planet that know how the internet works. Jeremy is one of them, and he's been very kind to the EzeeLinux project, and it's all, this is above my pay grade, the stuff that he's done. I couldn't have done this on my own, that is for sure. So a big thank you to him, and do check out the EzeeLinux page. Right now it looks the same, it's just on a new server, but it's going to improve. The idea here is going to be that we are going to add some new things. I'm thinking about doing a forum where we can have folks who participate, and that will be something that we're doing ourselves, and it's not going to be through some other service. So that's definitely in the plans. Also, we are talking about putting together a merchandise store. Not because I'm too keen on the idea of trying to make a big bunch of money, and I want to talk about that later on in the video, but because people have actually asked for it. They want EzeeLinux t-shirts and coffee mugs. So I'm working on that idea, gang. I don't know how long that will take to make happen, but there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen first. Here with the web page, we want to do some things to make it a little bit more secure. It's not insecure now, but we want to make sure that it's going to be secure before we jump into asking people to register for a forum and things like that. So definitely a work in progress, and a big thanks once again to Jeremy O'Connell. Now, if you want to go to his page and learn more about CyberWeb Solutions and contact him, all you have to do is come to EzeeLinux.com, and if you scroll down to the bottom of our page, you're going to see here that there is a link because, hey, he's the one who put it together, so that's why he gets that kind of upfront, what's the word I'm looking for? Showcasing? I guess that's not it. Or exposure, publicity, whatever. So thank you, Jeremy, and thank you to everybody who has visited the EzeeLinux page. Now, speaking of EzeeLinux, this is the server that is running the EzeeLinux webpage. And it is, for those of you who are curious about such things, it is a server running in the cloud. It is a virtual machine. Some people call them a droplet, where it's running on a server somewhere, but I have complete control over it. And for those of you who care about those sorts of things, it runs on CentOS. And you're probably asking, well, why didn't you use Ubuntu server? And we decided that we would go with CentOS simply because of the fact that Jeremy is a whiz at setting up CentOS. And it is arguably the most stable, run forever, be there till the end of time, never crash server out there right now is CentOS. And while I am not an expert on CentOS and Red Hat, I do know enough about it to be able to maintain it and run the updates and see what's going on. And basically, it's just going to run and it's going to do its thing and it's going to be serving web pages. That's the idea here. So there you go. That is the EzeeLinux server up and running. Before I close out this video, there's something I really kind of need to address, and I very rarely ever mention somebody else in the community by name. You know that I don't attack other YouTubers. I actually talked about that in a video not too long ago. It's like the last thing last week. And then this week, a whole bunch of stuff has happened, and one of the things that's happened is that Brian Lunduke has decided that he will no longer post his full-length videos on YouTube, and he is going to require folks to contribute to his Patreon in order to get full-length content. And this has caused a bit of controversy within the Linux community, and I have worked very closely with Brian. I've been a guest on his show 2 or 3 times over the last year, and we've sort of cross-pollinated things here and there. So a lot of people are coming to me and going, hey, what do you think about what Brian did and all that other stuff? I will just simply say this. It is his popsicle stand, and whatever he wants to do with it is up to him. I will not do what he's doing. I have absolutely no plans whatsoever to ever put any content that has EzeeLinux attached to it behind any sort of a paywall. Because the idea behind EzeeLinux is to spread the word about Linux and make it accessible to people who ordinarily, for one reason or another, would not use Linux, whether they are scared of it, they think it's intimidating, they think they can't actually learn it, whether that be a person who is in a financial situation that doesn't allow them to buy the books and the DVDs and the everything that they need, and maybe try and point them in a direction where they can learn in a free situation about how to empower themselves with Linux. Somebody just hit the web page. See that go up? And so for me, putting something behind a paywall would be it would go against what I'm trying to do. And I believe very much in the advertising model of generating revenue. I worked in radio and television for a big chunk of my adult life. And one of the things I always liked about working in radio particularly was the fact that it was free. You could steal a radio and you could get the good from it. Now, you do have to watch an ad here and there or listen to an ad on the radio. And that's part of the deal because, radio stations have to pay their employees, so that's how it's done. You sell ads and it works out really good. But for the end user, it's totally passive. And if you don't want to listen to the ads, you've got the off button. You can turn it off. And so therefore, I've always kind of thought of YouTube as being kind of the same deal. It's like you might have to sit through an ad or look, see a banner ad popped up, but you're getting this totally, absolutely for free. And if it wasn't, I probably wouldn't do it, to tell you the truth. If I wanted to make money on YouTube, I wouldn't be talking about Linux anyway. I would be talking about something else that would attract a huge audience and I could get millions and millions of subscribers. But I'm not doing this for money, and I don't want to talk about anything else. I want to talk about Linux. So anyway, that's a long way of saying, gang, I have absolutely no intention whatsoever of putting anything behind any kind of a paywall. The revenue that I get from YouTube is enough to definitely make doing this worthwhile. And if you feel like that you want to donate to the project, you can go to EzeeLinux.com, and there you can go to the Contact Us page, and you can go to donations, and I will tell you how that is done. There is not a donations button. There is not going to be a Patreon account set up. There may be a merchandise store somewhere in the not too distant future. I think I've had a lot of people who have asked me about that. That's something that we absolutely might do. But those are all very elective things. And you don't have to do that to be a part of the EzeeLinux community. You don't have to offer a dime or anything. And that's the way I feel about it. So that's about as much as I'm going to say about that. And I wish Brian a lot of luck. I understand the situation that he's in, and that is that he's trying to figure out how to make a living doing what he's doing. And God bless him and good luck, and I hope it works out for him. But he certainly has ruffled a lot of feathers with his decision. This was posted on Wednesday that he was going to be doing this, and he started on Thursday. And it's kind of an interesting experiment, I think, to see how it plays out. We'll see what happens. I wish him the best of luck. Be sure to check out EzeeLinux on Facebook if you are a Facebook user, and while you're there, give it a like. That community continues to grow. Also, check out EzeeLinux.com, the new and improved version, which we're going to have more features coming to sometime soon. And also check out FreedomPenguin.com for more about Linux. There's stuff there from all kinds of contributors. And Matt Hartley, who is the person who runs the Freedom Penguin project, has been very kind to us, and we've been working together since the beginning. And he's been putting out some really awesome content on YouTube. So you might want to check out his channel as well. It's either Matt Hartley or Freedom Penguin. I don't remember which one it is, but you can link to it from there. And when you go there, be sure and subscribe to Matt's channel, because I think the last time I looked, he only had a couple of thousand subscribers, which is really a shame, especially since he's got great content like that. So do check it out if you can. So we will do this again soon, and if you have any suggestions for subjects for future videos, I would love to hear from you. You can hit me on the Contact Us page at EzeeLinux.com or send me a comment here on YouTube. We will do it again soon.